Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be on my most recent Quinceanera Expo. It was actually my first ever Expo. It was held in San Diego, so those of you that aren't familiar with San Diego, it is a little bit south of Los Angeles, about 2 hours away. This specific Expo was actually a Quinceanera Expo. I would say this Expo was fairly large. It had between 700 to 1,000 people. It was 5 hours long. So in between those 5 hours, there was a fashion show, there was different activities for the guests to do. Basically, I'm just going to talk about my experience, kind of what I brought, so like business cards, things like that, and actually what happened during the expo and how I interacted with the, not just with the vendors, but also with the different people. And at the end, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you guys my overall thoughts, some things I would have done differently, things that I would have just added maybe to my booth, just so I could go ahead and attract a little bit more attention to my overall. So I'm going to talk about my experience first and kind of how I came to plan for my expo. So I actually started planning 2 months before the expo actually began. So I started kind of drafting how I wanted my booth to look, what I was going to bring to the expo, and kind of how I was going to do my pricing for that specific day. So I wanted to attract people so that they could come to my booth and be like, hey, if you book today, you're going to get this discount, or if you book today, you're going to get like a free frame. So I started building the layout for my booth 2 months prior to. If you're a month out from your expo, you can still do it, definitely. You still have enough time to kind of build how you want your booth to look. One of the things I would recommend is that you start ordering things, if you need to order, early, just to make sure that there's no shipping delays in case there's some sort of mistake with your album, or with a canvas, or with a print, or with a frame. And since this was my first expo, I had no idea how I wanted my booth to look. So I actually asked the event organizer if they could send me pictures of past booths for their specific expo and just see how they kind of looked and what people put out on their booths. So I saw a lot of the other vendors had frames for my specific kind of trade, which is photography and videography, a lot of albums. There was also a lot of canvases. So I thought I kind of incorporated a little bit of everything into my booth, just so I can kind of attract different types of people. And then on the actual day of the event, so I woke up a couple hours early. Of course, I was super nervous. Didn't really know what to expect. I knew I was gonna have to be talking a lot on that day. Obviously, you guys don't know me. I love talking, but my Spanish isn't always the best because I get super nervous. But on the actual day, so the booth, we had access to the booth a couple of hours before the event, so we had about 3 hours to set up. We actually didn't end up taking the 3 hours. We took about 1.5 hours to set up because we didn't bring a lot. And everything that I brought, I didn't really have to set anything up. So the canvas holders that I had, they were really fast to put together. The frames, didn't have to put any of that together, and my front table. So I would recommend that you check in with the organizer to see what they provide to you. Some provide electricity, they provide Wi-Fi, others don't, and those are things that you have to pay for extra. So in my specific expo, or the expo that I attended, I should say, electricity was extra, so was Wi-Fi, and if you wanted a premium booth, you had to pay extra. Now, a lot of these expos do have early bird sales, so I recommend, if you're able to kind of plan ahead, to really take advantage of those. So what I actually brought, so I brought a vinyl sign just so people could identify what it was that I was selling to them, right? You don't want to get to a booth and it's like, well, like, what are these people offering me? So I brought a vinyl sign. I'll go ahead and I'll try to include pictures in this video, but I brought a vinyl sign with zip ties. Do not forget zip ties. I only had 6 zip ties and we were freaking out because we weren't sure if that was enough. I also brought several canvas prints, so I brought the sizes that I offer. Those were a really big hit. As people were walking by, those really attracted attention, and a lot of people It was kind of weird, but they would feel the texture of the canvas. But I thought that was really interesting. So people do check the quality of the canvases. So make sure you actually get it from a lab, and you actually, get good professional kind of quality prints. Second, I brought several frames. So I brought different sizes as well, just so people could see what I actually kind of offered, and the frames that I brought were not only samples of my work, but they were also gave the attendees a chance to see the frames that I actually offered. So a lot of them thought that was really cool. I brought contracts because there was people who just wanted a book right then and there, and everybody's rushing. So I brought printout contracts, so I could just explain to them really quick, see what they wanted. So I could explain to them really quick the contract. Hey, this is this, this and this, and this is this, and then boom, signed. Right? Took a deposit and then entered everything into my computer system. I also made sure to bring business cards. Funny story, I actually started off with 440 business cards, and at the end I only had about 20 left, and we were freaking out that we were gonna about the fact that we thought we were gonna run out of business cards. So I definitely recommend that you print out more than enough business cards, because people are gonna want those. People, not only the people that attend the expo for your business, but also other vendors. They're gonna want those business cards. They're gonna want to build those connections with you. Second, I brought albums, so kind of the different sizes that I offer, the different textures. So I have like leather albums, I have full picture print albums, I have kind of more photo books that are used for signature pages. So I brought all of those along with display stands for them, and those I displayed in the front because people like flipping through those and kind of saying, hey, this is what a full album looks like, or this is what a full album would kind of look like for my event. I also brought a video monitor to show videos of my work. Given that I do videography and photography, I thought it was important to kind of show off, hey, or not show, but show off, not show off, I guess you can say, but like kind of showcase the fact that I do video as well. Because there was photographers that only did, or there was photography and videography. There's people that only did photography, there's people that only did videography. So I kind of wanted to let them know, hey, I offer the full kind of package. Now, during the actual expo, I'll go ahead and share my experience there. So I did have somebody helping me. That was a lot of help because there's a lot of people, obviously depending on the size of the expo, but people are going to be walking fast. You're going to have to give them that elevator pitch very quick because there is a lot of vendors and there is a lot to get to, and people have such limited time. So there was a lot of people. My elevator pitch, it wasn't perfect, I'll be honest. And at the beginning, I wasn't exactly interacting with people as much as I would have liked to. So my elevator pitch kind of went along the lines of, hey, do you have a photographer for your event? A lot of them said no. I would explain the packages that I offered, and I also, that specific day only, I offered a voucher. So if they booked with me that specific day, I would offer a certain percentage off of my packages, off the regularly priced packages. Not only did I kind of interact with the people at my booth, but I made sure to introduce myself to the vendors that were to the left and to the right of me. It was really, really, really helpful because they had been to expos before, and they told me, hey, do this, talk to people like this. We exchanged business cards. During the actual expo, you don't have enough time to go around and see the other vendors, but definitely before the expo, I recommend that you go around and you talk to all the vendors because you don't know who you're gonna meet, right? So I met other photographers, I met wedding not wedding planners, just like Quinceanera Expo, but I met Quinceanera planners, event planners, I met photo booth operators, all sorts of different people that I feel would definitely make great connections for that. And then kind of to close off this video, my overall thoughts, it was only a week ago, so I can't necessarily say that it was worth it. As of right now, I would say it's great exposure if you're just starting your brand or if you really want to drive up in business. Depending on the expo that you attend, some are very expensive, others are kind of on the lower end, or not lower end, lower range. And my booth was actually in a great spot. It was right in front of the stage, so I thought that was really cool. So during the shows or during the workshops that they had, people would come and ask, hey, you know, do you do videography? Can't speak right now. Do you do videography, or do you just do photography? Or they would come and they would look at the packages. And so I'm very open with my pricing. I like to display it because I want to attract the ideal customer. So I didn't hand out pricing sheets. I laminated 3 pricing sheets because I offer 3 different packages. And I put them in the front of my booth, and people would either take a picture of it with their phone, or they would say, hey, is this available on your website? Or they would plainly just say, hey, I want to do this package, right? Now, I do want to backtrack on that a little bit, because not all vendors will book at the actual expo, because it's going so fast and people don't have the luxury of being able to kind of stand there and give you a credit card or give you cash to pay. It's more for exposure, right? You're kind of exposing to the people, hey, I do this, and this is why you should hire me. One of the things I recommend, one of the things I really never thought of, was having sign-up sheets and offering some sort of incentive. So offering something in exchange for their contact info. So for photographers, right, it could be, hey, if you give me your contact information, I can go ahead and I'm gonna raffle a session, right? Or I'm gonna offer a free frame to somebody in my sign-up sheets. Or it could even be something as simple as, hey, if you sign up for my contact sheet, you can get free candy or something like that. And let me tell you, it could be something small and people would still sign up for your contact sheet. The vendor to the left of me actually was offering party lights, and I saw their sign-up sheet, and it was full of people that were interested in the business, but also just wanted a little LED light. So I thought that was really cool. I actually talked to her about it, and she said, yes, you know, this works great for us. They were a DJ service, and she said, I highly recommend you do this. You collect their name, their last name, their email, their phone number. I actually talked to another photographer who said that's kind of what they do. They don't even offer their pricing, and then they'll call them and they'll kind of build that more intimate relationship where it's like, hey, come into our office, we'll give you the pricing, and that's usually where they leave the down payment in their specific case. Kind of my overall thoughts. It is still pretty early. It's only been a week, so I haven't seen the full effect of the expo. As of right now, I would say it was great for brand exposure. It was great to kind of showcase, hey, I do this, and this is why you should hire me. As far as booking, you know, I didn't get as many bookings as I would have liked or as I had originally thought, but that's okay, right? We won't see the full effect until later 2023. This video is being filmed in 2022, so until 2023, you know, we'll go ahead and we'll see, hey, was it worth it? Because a lot of the people that kind of go to these expos are planning ahead. They want to get ahead of things, and the times that I interacted with the people that were there, if they were like, hey, my event isn't until summer 2023 or isn't until April 2023. There's very young attendees. There was one young girl who was 6 years old, and they were planning already. So I thought that was very interesting. Definitely had never seen that before, but let me transition into my top tips. So my first tip is to plan early and make sure you take advantage of those early bird sales. My second tip is to order things ahead just to make sure you have enough time for them to get here in case there's any mistakes or anything like that. My third, ask if there is no-shows. I saw this lady had not a terrible spot, but it wasn't a very good spot. She asked, hey, do you have no-shows? And the event organizers asked, yes, we had no-shows. So she got a really good spot just because she asked. Definitely do not be afraid to ask. Fourth, make sure you connect with the vendors around you. It doesn't even matter if they're in the same trade as you. Make sure you connect with them and exchange business cards. Fifth, make sure you take enough business cards, and I cannot stress this enough. Make sure you are taking Obviously, don't exaggerate and say, I'm gonna take like 2,000 business cards. No, take a little bit more than you would think, or that you would normally take to an expo. And finally, I just wanna say, don't be afraid to talk. Don't be afraid to engage with the clients. Don't be afraid to say, hey, this is why you should pick me. This is why I believe I can best film, or I can best plan, or I can best decorate your quinceañera. This video, doesn't only apply to quinceañeras, but it can apply to wedding expos, it can apply to all sorts of different event expos. So, alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you follow me on my Instagram. Like me on Facebook. I am on Facebook. And make sure you guys stay around. I really like making these videos on kind of my experience with different things. Alrighty guys, have a great